The international break is upon us, but the footy is coming thick and fast. The Nations League final looms. It's World Cup qualifiers galore. We're fresh from a goal and match of the season contender already. And what is up with Ole benching the GOAT? Hi, I'm Sarah, and welcome to Footy Talks. Ex-Holland manager Ronald Koeman is making headlines for all the wrong reasons at the Camp Nou this season. Barcelona are officially in free fall, 8th in the league, devoid of belief and identity, thrashed in the Champions League, and generally being completely un-Barca in every conceivable way. As a Barca fan myself, this hurts. So on Fast Money Football this week, I turned to Michael and Jelani for some footy group therapy. As Man United fans, however, it turns out they weren't particularly sympathetic.
You know what? I'm so happy we're talking about it because it needs to be talked about. But it's honestly it's embarrassing. It's disgraceful. It's disrespectful to the players and the fans. Like when Barca had their game in Madrid over the weekend against Atleti, Laporte came out and said earlier that day that no matter what the result is, Barca are going to keep Koeman. And this, to me, was such a slap in the face for the players, for the fans, for the legacy that Barca is. Barca is like the epitome of beautiful football. And look at us now. We can't score. We have no shots on net. We have no, tiki-taka. It's so foreign to, what Barcelona used to be. But I think, to me, the issue is Barca's in so much debt, they can't sack him and get a new coach because they have to pay out Koeman while they're still signing a new contract for somebody. And you see the likes of a coach like Conte, who would be so good at Barcelona, in my opinion, because he can get, he's so controlling of players. He knows what to do. He has so much experience. But I don't think we're going to get him because I don't think they have the money or they want to spend the money. And, the financial situation and the board, it's awful. It's really, honestly, I'm a Barca fan, so it hurts more, but I feel like even football fans are this is just, it's sad. It's really sad.
Hey, maybe Lionel Messi knew what was coming when he decided to kind of force his way out of Barcelona. As you mentioned there, I think that's probably the major issue in my opinion. Sorry, Jelani, I'm stealing your spotlight right now.
All good.
I'll throw it to you after. I think the debt's probably the major issue right now. When you look at the Barcelona roster, as a fan of a different team, whenever I look at that, I would always be envious. Because I think, with the Xavis and Iniestas, obviously the Messi, you could go back to before then, the Thierry Henry, the Samuel Eto'os, the Ronaldinhos, those are the type of players that, are world-class, best in the world, hands down. And I think they no longer have that stature. And when you look at the caliber of players on their roster, obviously Ansu Fati could be an amazing talent. He looks like he could be, but he's not Ronaldinho. He's not Lionel Messi. He's not that one player that you can build your franchise around. And now that pipeline has sort of seemed to run a little bit dry there, it's tough to really continue that stature that's been Barcelona. And the players that they're buying now with the depth that they're in, they're no longer the types of players that's like a great supporting cast like a Neymar or, players of that caliber. So I think right now Manchester United went through it a couple years ago in the post-Sir Alex Ferguson era. I think Barcelona's kind of starting to go through their post-Messi era, and I hope they can definitely pick something up quickly. Jelani?
Yeah.
Let me throw it to you there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, you mentioned depth. Don't really see it. Slow start, man. Like to the Champions League, losing those games, and then La Liga right now. Just what are they, 9th, I believe? It's not looking too pretty for you, Sarah. I'm sorry. PK even admitted the club's in crisis. They are. It's not the Barca that we're used to. It's a whole different team right now. And you mentioned Conte. What about Roberto Martinez? What about him as a possible favorite? If the job becomes vacant, I think that would be nice. But again, if they manage to, perform a sack here, you'd have to pay around 12 million euros. And then the issues with the financial fair play come into effect as well. So I don't know what's going on. You got to use this international break to really figure out where you go from here. Do you use the break to sack him? I don't know. Do you use the break to get ready for matches that are coming up, like Madrid coming up, and then Valencia as well? Teams like that. We have to see what Barca is going to look like. Their form just isn't it right now, and we'll see how it goes. I think Messi leaving just indicates maybe Messi was kind of camouflaging some issues there at Barca.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot to, you guys said so much. Something about Messi leaving, though, I don't think Messi would ever choose to leave Barca. I think he was blindsided. I think he was treated horribly. Like, it was so disrespectful the way he left. I definitely don't think it was up to him, because Barca's his home. They did everything for him. Even when they were playing bad, like, Messi was still like, I'm the captain of this team. But like you said, then in terms of the coaches, Martinez, also Gallardo at River, like, I'll take anyone. I was just using Conte as an example, but you even said it, like 12 million euros, that's pennies in the football world. And it's like, you guys, we can't even afford that. Like, if that's actually how much it is, and we can't even afford that. We are so like just screwed, really. Like, it's so bad. In terms of players coming up, though, I mean, like, I do still think Barca always produces, the Messiah. You mentioned Ansu Fati, Michael, but like, let's talk about Pedri, like the best young player in Europe right now. We have Gavi, we have Ricky Puig, but these players are not given any playing time because of this coach. So there's so much, like, there's a lot of things you could say about the development too, because they're not even given the chance, because this guy has no business in Barcelona. The emotions are coming out. I really hate Koeman, guys.
No, I love it, because like, you've been picking on us the last couple of shows.
I know.
I mean, I should know, but like, I'm with it, because I'm like, maybe if they really sink to the bottom, something will happen. But I'm like, what more? We've lost games. We're in 9th. Yeah, we have a game in hand, but who cares? We've lost our 2 opening UCL games. Like, what is going on? When are we gonna say, okay, like, we have to make a change? I don't know.
I think sooner than later. We'll see. Sooner than later. And you mentioned like the talent being left out, the young talent being left out. That's another issue. So yeah, I think there will be a breaking point. I say it's very soon.
I hope so.
Again in there.
I hope you guys are right. We'll see.
If Barca fans are struggling with the unfamiliar sight of defeat, Man United fans were struggling last weekend with the unfamiliar sight of Cristiano Ronaldo on the bench. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took a big risk leaving CR7 out of his starting lineup, and it massively backfired when Everton took all 3 points in a must-win game at Old Trafford. On this week's Seriously Football, Jackie revisited Solskjaer's peculiar approach to talent management and hit the Man United manager with some much-needed truth.
Okay, I know, it's Man United again. And no, I don't enjoy this. I'm a Villa fan. You think I want to talk about Man United every week? But there's an elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. Pardon my Mancunian, but what in the actual was that 90-minute slow-motion car crash at Old Trafford on Saturday? And how long will it take before the Man United board sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and install Cristiano Ronaldo as technical director, player manager, captain, player recruitment lead, and head of social media marketing? We thought it was a phase. We thought it would pass. We thought Ole had learned from his mistakes. In fact, we called him out on this back in August. What's confusing here, Ole? It's right in the name. Player, noun, from the verb to play. It's like Ole has some kind of wine cellar approach to player management. Buy exceptional, highly prized vintage pieces, not to sample, but to store. Go down and look at them from time to time, yes. Pick them up and hold them tenderly in your hands, of course. Think about them fondly when you're driving home from work. But open them, actually uncork these beauties and let the goodness flow? No. That won't do it all. So on Saturday, Ole opted to keep his best wine tightly corked on the bench, and instead served up an on-field buffet of the cheapest bulk buy vino. Anthony Marshall and Fred showed themselves yet again to be the living embodiments of wine in a box. And between them, they literally pissed away any chance of United winning the game against Everton. Yes, Marshall finally scored a goal after 9 long months, but his shot was deflected past the keeper after he'd already missed what was pretty much an open goal earlier in the first half. And in the build-up to Andros Townsend's equalizing goal, Fred gave Damari Gray so much freedom he may as well have handed over his house keys and wallet as well. And all the while, who's on the bench watching this? Cristiano Ronaldo! You hear that, Ole? Cristiano Ronaldo! 32 trophies, best goal-to-game ratio in La Liga history, 790 career goals, 320 goals in 356 matches, since turning 30. Now, winless in 3 EPL games with the fans already restless and unhappy, and facing a plucky side with a master tactician at the helm, this was a must-win game for Man United. So you can only imagine the deafening silence in the team meeting when Ollie announced his master stroke. Who should lead the line against Everton? A superhuman goal machine single-handedly redefining the modern game? Nope. Give me Anthony T-shirt and gloves Marshall. A fourth choice nearly ran with 1 goal and assist for France since 2016. Don't even get me started on the 4-2-3-1 formation that showcases all of the team's failings and sounds like a drunk guy counting. And also don't get me started on Bruno Fernandes, who's fast becoming the ultimate luxury player, ghosting entire games and offering nothing in defense. But one thing is simple, Ollie, and you have to get this. Play Ronaldo, because the clock is ticking hard, dude. CR7 is back in the theater of dreams. That means you're not allowed to draw with Everton anymore, and as painful as it is for me to say, you can't lose to Aston Villa. And there are obvious jokes to be made about a whooping from young boys, but I won't make them. The one thing that's certain is this. Cristiano Ronaldo might be the only person in the Man United dressing room who understands what winning really means. You can't store the best wine in the cellar anymore, Ollie, so please, uncork it now while you still can.
In this week's Five-A-Side, James Sharman used the international break to pose 5 big questions about domestic leagues. Sharms had a thing or two to say about the situation at Barcelona too, as well as how things are panning out for Messi at his new home at PSG.
Yet another international break is upon us, and with the games coming thick and fast, let's quick fire reflect on the club's season so far with 5 proper questions that need answering. Is Barcelona as bad as they seem? Yeah. And no. Yeah, they've been just terrible. But there is some light. Beyond all the financial chaos that they're still mired in, if they can find a way to fire manager Ronald Koeman, who is owed about 12 million euros on his deal, which is somewhat problematic, and replace him with someone who embraces dynamic attacking football like, say, Xavi, then this team might still come together. After all, it has loads of young, dynamic attacking players. 9th place at the moment, 5 points back at 1st place. Forget about Europe, 2 straight losses. But this season could be salvaged, yeah. Is PSG doomed to failure once again? No. Did you see them beat Man City last week? And yeah, I know they lost on the weekend, but still, that means nothing. In the table, they're 6 points clear with 8 wins out of 9 so far. Leo Messi just scored his first for the club, and let's face it, even when you have a front 3 of Messi, Mbappe and Neymar, they do still have time to bed in together. It won't happen straight away, but it will eventually. And even if Mauricio Pochettino doesn't like it, he will find a way to accommodate his 3 completely one-dimensional, i.e. lazy players, into this 11, because the other 8 players are not lazy and they're all pretty good as well. Don't worry, PSG fans, they might break your heart, but they'll be very, very, very good this season. Has Ronaldo made Manchester United better? At the box office, for sure. On the pitch, I'm not so sure. That match against Villarreal last week might be something we see lots of this season for United. He and his team were really quite poor for all but about 10 seconds, and then in that 10 seconds he scores the winning goal. He is brilliant at what he does, but is he really what United need? Let's look at the numbers so far with CR7. Okay, I know it's a small sample size, but 3 wins, 3 losses and 1 draw. Not great. And coming up for this team, Leicester, Liverpool, Atalanta twice, Spurs, and then Man City. You know, a cynic might suggest a certain manager could be relying on his former teammate to save his job pretty soon. Who has won the Harry Kane sweepstakes so far, Spurs or Man City? Good question. Well done. Kane had been looking disinterested, even sulky, since that big summer move to City fell apart, but then several of England's Euro 2021 stars have looked a bit off so far, probably fatigue being the main reason, and Kane does usually start seasons poorly. But then he scores a hat-trick last week, admittedly in that whole UEFA I don't want to be there cup, and then looks lively in a big win over Aston Villa on the weekend. City, meanwhile, have looked incredible for most of the season, but when they don't, then questions are asked. It does feel like having a legit Golden Boot favourite would put them just a bit above pretty much everyone else in world football, so I'm going to say Spurs have won the battle for now, but let's dust off those transfer gloves again in January. And finally, here's a bit of fun. You can sign one player for any amount of money for one match that kicks off next week. Who's it going to be? Me? No, not me. I'm going to choose Mo Salah, who should be getting lots of money on him for this year's Golden Boot Award. Yeah, I know he'll miss a couple of games at the African Cup of Nations early next year, but no one in world football is in better form, and no one looks more dangerous with the ball at his feet. Now, much is being made of his age and whether he should sign a new long-term deal at Liverpool, but I say, do it. He's just 29, and as we're seeing more and more now, modern sports science is prolonging careers at the top. Hello, Robin Lewandowski and those other couple of guys. Listen, Salah, love him, hate him, he's just a bag full of fun.
If you haven't seen it yet, check out this week's special World Cup Qualifiers 3-team moneyline parlay on TikTok and Twitter now. Take Scott McTominay's Scotland to beat Israel at -106. Take Gareth Bale's Wales to beat Czech Republic at +425. And take Erling Haaland's Norway to beat Turkey at +250 for a +3,483 parlay. Don't forget to follow at The Parlay on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and come pay us a visit at theparlay.com.